Good afternoon. This is Debbie Davis. It is March 6th, 2025. Okay, so I'm just doing a video touching on just kind of summarizing a few things, that have happened here as I've touched on briefly, but I wanted to explain a few more things, and more things that I found about this particular M Health hospital and other hospitals. So this is, for the community in Minnesota. I just want to raise concern for the whole community. I don't know why we're tolerating this, and it seems to be getting worse and worse. Okay. But not only is there a bunch of lawsuits for the last since 2008 against this M Health in Edina, Minnesota. M Health, it was Fairview, Southdale, Edina. Now it's called M Health. Okay, but then there's also all these other deaths in the community too. But M Health has one of the worst reputation. Okay. Mistakes led to 11 deaths in Minnesota. It was on Fox 9 News. 11 people died, 118 people were injured by preventable medical mistakes in Minnesota hospitals. This was a story on March 1st, 2019 that was on Fox News that I found. I'm looking up different stories. There's a lot of people being hurt. M Health in particular, there are higher death rates in hospitals where ICU patients are not cared for intensively. Hospitals can, I don't know what they're saying here, but there's an ICU there, and apparently there's more deaths when there's because that means the person is intensely intensive care. But she just went in there with some kind of lung infection, or there was some reason why her oxygen went down, but all of her other vitals were fine. So So this, and let's see. There was a patient murdered at Minnesota State Hospital in St. Peter. I mean, just flat out murdered. It says that right there, St. Peter, Minnesota. That was in. It seems to be getting worse and worse. Okay, deaths due, this is September 28th, 2023. Deaths due to Minnesota hospital errors increased since 2021. Hospital reported 21 avoidable deaths and 178 serious injuries due to lapses in patient care. New report shows rise in errors at Minnesota hospitals, May 3rd, 2024. Okay, I would be very concerned bringing anybody to a Minnesota hospital. And it seems to be getting worse ever since Omar got here. Congressman Omar. It seems to be getting, can we think of anything good that she's done in Minnesota? I can't think of one thing, but I can certainly think of see a pattern of a lot of bad. There's, the rumor, and, there's pretty much evidence that her and Tim Walz gave the entire Minnesota surplus to the Muslim Brotherhood, and then a bunch of people in all of the Minnesota property taxes went up because of that. So I really don't know why people are putting up with this. I mean, we have to come together as a community and realize the damage that has been done here, and then also John said that it was his grandmother also died at that same hospital. We were talking, and so this was back in 82, and he said his grandmother had a stroke, but then somehow she came out of it and started talking again, and then they brought her there and she died there. And then I think that is also the same place that my dad's brother died. So my dad had my dad's closest brother, his name was Bobby, and he died when he was 27. And my dad and the whole family was traumatized about it. I mean, my dad and his parents, and he just went in for minor pneumonia. He was 27 years old, and I think it was that same hospital. And they said that, and he was doing fine. And so the mother, my dad's mother, just was traumatized because she was gonna stay overnight, but then my dad is from a family of 7, so she had went home to take care of the other kids, and they said that he aspirated in the middle of the night. This is a 27-year-old, fit as can be, and young, fit, healthy. They used to do sports together, my dad and Bobby, and it just didn't make any sense. He was only 27 years old, and I think that is also the same hospital. And they were never given an explanation of exactly what happened. So I find this really alarming. So I hope the rest of the community does. I hope there needs to be an investigation into this hospital. I believe there needs to be a class action lawsuit of the people that have had issues there. And so hopefully the people in Minnesota can come together as a community. If you have stories you want to share with me, I've given my telephone number before, and I would be happy to share your story on my channel, and it's 651-767-2892, or you can contact me at Soldier Debbie, SOLDIER DEBBIE @protonmail.com. So, but I was just thinking about just the how ridiculous this is of how we're putting up with what we've had to put up with here. I've kind of been traveling around and at different places like this, but I mean the things that have been allowed to happen in certain districts in Minnesota because this Omar woman and the Democrats that got appointed in these areas is just ridiculous. It's just I mean, it literally, like, if you can imagine us being able to go to Somalia and become part of their Congress by marrying our own brother, and then on top of it, we decide to start killing their whole village, but expect to get away with it because that's what she's done. And on top of it, we decide to take all of their money, all of their surplus for the entire village. But then we decide but we pretend like we're here to help the village. But clearly it's becoming clear over time that really we aren't there to help the village. If you can, just read the facts here. First of all, she's illegally here to begin with. She married her brother to become a citizen. That's illegal. Then it seems like the deaths in the Minnesota hospitals have increased dramatically since she's been here. Then on top of it, her and her buddies seem to have given the entire Minnesota surplus to the Muslim Brotherhood, and now all of the property taxes have had to raise. So I really don't know why the people in Minnesota are putting up with this, and I think that people need to come together as a community and stand up against this. Whatever. I know it's hard to figure out exactly what to do, but it's the Democrats involved with her and Tim Walz. So they seem to be involved in the whole agenda. The Democrats that we have in St. Paul in the Congress there, and so they are all involved in everything I'm saying, which are criminal. These are criminal things that are happening here. These deaths in these hospitals, his mother, he believes, was euthanized. Euthanization is not legal in the United States. So how is it that the hospitals think that that's okay to do that? Okay, these are just, basic things that anybody can look up. It seems to us that she was just euthanized over there. Okay, I know it's legal in Canada. You can go up there, but it's not legal here. So how are they getting away with this? So, but then I also wanted to touch briefly on when, so I had been out to Los Angeles for an expo that I usually go to once a year. I go, to this certain expo out there, and there's I go out there, for I have my booth and my company, and then I've had for years, but I also go out there to hear the speakers and things like that, and so I saw a few speakers that I liked, and Deborah Solaris was good, and Michael Cremo was good, and and so it's not just about the booths. That there's just all kinds of groups of speakers and stuff that I enjoy attending too. But I drove because I didn't trust all these things going on with the flights. But then when I was driving back, and I was driving through New Mexico, and I just want to tell this story for anybody who has Progressive insurance. So I was just past Albuquerque, and then I decided to, stop for the night. And so this was in Santa Rosa, New Mexico. And I was at a hotel called America's Best Inn. And the next morning, I was leaving, and I was trying to get back on the road, and about 20 minutes down the road, after I was staying at that hotel, I had a flat. So I believe somebody at that hotel punctured my tire. So I'm just telling the story of what happened. Just for, and so that was just past Albuquerque, and then on top of it, my phone wasn't working. Like it said that like my whole storage was full, and I looked, and apparently some things were recently downloaded, like a bunch of stuff, like an entire movie was downloaded called The Commuter, was downloaded onto my phone, so my phone wasn't working, and I don't know, this entire movie called The Commuter was downloaded onto my phone. That's with Liam Neeson, that weird thing on the train. I believe it's a CIA woman that's trying to, talk him into taking some money and that whole thing. Yeah, that entire movie was downloaded onto my phone. And so my phone storage was full. And so my phone wouldn't work. So then, so I have this flat, and I'm on the side of the road, and so then I tried to turn around, and because I saw that there was a rest area just a few miles back. So I was barely able to turn around, and like driving on flat over to that rest area. But then I'm trying to call Progressive, and I had roadside paid for on my Progressive, and my bill was paid in full, Progressive, and I had roadside assistance that was supposed to be included, and my phone wasn't working. Okay, then I tried some other guy's phone that was at the rest area, and we tried calling the 800 number, and it kept sending us to a text, an automated text, and nobody was picking up. So I was literally like, what is the point in paying for Progressive? I mean, I would have been stranded. I would have been stranded if I didn't have somebody help me. So then we couldn't get through. So then we ended up calling a company called Ortega's. Well, I mean, it was just, we had to call just a basic, something else to help. And they came out and they helped me put this spare on, because, I was like trying to jack it up and stuff, but I did have a spare. We were able to get on, and I was able to get back on the road. But I had to pay out of pocket for this Ortega's, and then he didn't have anything to give me a receipt. And so now I'm trying to get reimbursed, because I had to pay like $200 out of pocket for them to come out and help me put this spare on. And so I filed a claim with Progressive. You left me stranded, first of all, when I had roadside. And then on top of it, you're giving me a hard time about this claim. I want to, so, yeah, and I mean, it's not my fault that the people didn't give me a receipt. I requested a receipt twice, and this company, Ortega's, would not give me a receipt. So I told the Progressive what happened, and I have proof that the donkey was put on and all that stuff. I showed them all that, and so I'm still waiting for I should get reimbursed for that. That's called a roadside claim, because I had roadside assistance, and they didn't come out. so I had to pay out of pocket. I shouldn't have had to pay anything out of pocket. That should have been completely included in my Progressive insurance. So anyway, I just wanted people to just do an update here. But I mean, I don't know why we're putting up with this, these people that have come into our country. As far as I'm concerned, she's here illegally, and what they're doing is illegal. And I really don't know why we are putting up with it, and we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. We should be standing up as a community against this type of thing. And I've said this before. I'm not against the Somali people. I mean, I, as far as I know, they haven't really caused any problems here. It's just her. Like, it's not really the Somali people. It's her and the Democrats that are causing the problems. So, okay.